Cool. So because we are saying new JDBC template and not using the one which Spring gives us for free, so it injects here and then it assigns to this instance field. And that's because really we're not using the at and then JDBC. I think, yeah, JDBC test does it as well, I think. And also at and then Spring Boot test. And you saw that we shouldn't really use this annotation for unit testing. So how do we get the data source? So let's go into our class called abstract test containers. And in here, let's have a field that will give us the data source. So literally the last method here, so after this method registered data source properties, what we're going to do is we're going to have a protected and then static data source, and make sure that this is from SQL, and let's just say get and then data and then source. There we go. And within this method, let's say data source and then builder from Spring Framework. And in here, let's just say builder equals to data source builder dot and then create. Now here we can say dot and then driver class name. So let's just put this on a new line, just like that. And this will come from Postgres dot. So basically our container dot get the driver class name. Let's also specify the URL. So dot and then URL. This comes from our container dot get JDBC URL. The username, Postgres container dot get username. Then the password, so password, and then our container dot and then get and then password. Cool. So this guy right here is our builder, and we have to actually get the data source from it. And I'll do that in a second, but basically PostgreSQL container is our container. Remember, our test container, which is this guy right here. So the same way that we've done with registered data source properties. Now in here, we have to say return and then builder dot build, and this gives us the data source. So you could inline pretty much this. So just like this. You could do this, but I really leave it up to you. So I usually like to do stuff like return, just like that, and then here, dot, and then build. So this is my preferred way, and let's just do it like that. Cool. Now within our test, in here, we could just say get, and then data source. But the reason why this is not working is because we have to extend and then abstract test containers. So hopefully now everything is making sense. So get and then data source, just like that. Now here again, we could abstract this as well, and we could take this JDBC template and then we could say protected and then static JDBC template get JDBC and then template, and in here, let's just basically return new JDBC template, and then we get the data source. Now at this point, we could make this private, and basically, if you need it, then you can make it protected, right? So here we don't need it because the JDBC template will come from the abstract class. And you can see that this is a much better approach. Cool. Now we have the under test configured, correctly extending our abstract test containers with JDBC template and the custom role mapper as its dependencies. Next, we can write our first test, which is that we have the ability of selecting customers from our database.